God, it has been a hot fucking minute now, hasn't it? I haven't made a video in some time, and this isn't even on the main channel. It's actually going up over on the D6 channel. Oh, we have a bit to talk about. So before we get into this video, I wrote this months ago. And funny enough, some stuff has actually happened, as I will describe in the video, but I want to preface this. There are things that have not happened yet or could be completely wrong. I'm also deeply risking pissing people off within the D&D community, but I am more than capable of being willing to point out their shitty behavior. I feel like it's more of an indictment on them for saying nothing than it would be on me to, point it out. Now, I'm not exactly fond of being a cynical bitch, and I understand a couple of videos I've made this year alone have led many people to watch me to believe the contrary of that statement. So, I'm gonna put away the angry anime man persona for just a minute here and talk about another one of my massive passions that I believe is about to fall headfirst into a grave. D&D 5th edition. What I am going to say throughout this video is purely a prediction, and all of my theories are based on Wizards of the Coast and Hasbro's past behaviors. Also, I'll be bringing up a handful of D&D creators when talking about this, as I am not happy that they are more than comfortable ignoring this for whatever personal or business related reason. I don't think it was done out of maliciousness, except for Clownfish TV, who says that they haven't played D&D in years, so I don't know what the fuck you're bitching about every other day. But those that aren't too prone to wearing rose-tinted glasses when it comes to the opportunities to work with D&D as a brand, given their attachment to the IP, I'm also going to bring up a bit of history to kind of set the timeline of events that we can expect when moving forward, and what you can do to stop this from potentially happening. Okay, so let's get this out of the way. I have been making a D&D show for the past 8 years of my life called D6 Explorers of Erdzeheimel. It's based on my own homebrew world, and we have a whole lot of fun making the game. We use D&D Beyond as our system for our character sheets and rolling dice, to Blue's detriment. Sorry. We are extremely unique as we use a multi-camera setup to run combat using miniatures. I personally 3D print and or buy myself, and dungeon tiles from Dwarven Forge or 3D print and paint myself. So D&D Beyond is way more than enough for what we need it for. Don't intend to use D&D Beyond from my new campaign that's coming up for now. Well, this is subject to change. Now that we got that out of the way, let's set the stage and turn back the clock about 16 years in the fall of our economy and the current election year in full swing. But Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition has just been released after a very short 5-year stint with 3.5. This was madness at the time. Dungeons & Dragons is not a war game. It's a TTRPG. It doesn't need a new edition every few years because of the core game can always be improved upon with newer books. So why would WotC do this? Because they were just bought by Hasbro and wanted to cut out anyone working on 3.5 from royalties. Also, it was put in a brand new closed license OGL, meaning you couldn't produce any third-party content for the game. So historically speaking, this is not the first time Hasbro has done this. Also, at the time, if you could imagine it, WotC actually made a functioning VTT called D&D Insider for your character and all your D&D 4E news. You're seeing the pattern, right? 4th edition was dead on arrival. People just kept playing 3.5 or moved entirely to Pathfinder because of this scandal. The only reason why people don't know this is because we are far and away from 4th edition, and many of its problems, which are legion, and a lot of discourse of why 4th E is a punching bag of the D&D community, is because most DMs and players only said that 4E was just bad. No elaboration needed. Just play 3.5. Now that WotC's foot was firmly in the grave, they spent the next 4 years floundering to try and get people to play 4th edition. When it didn't work out, they came up with a new plan. Make a completely brand new edition. But this time, better. Now, we all know the story of how 5th edition gained its massive popularity, and that has a lot to do with Critical Role and Stranger Things. I would never think of streaming or filming my D&D show if not for the former, and also it was the reason why I jumped to the 5th edition. This is not news, and this is not about them. However, this is to note that all of the changes and the entirety of the 5.1 SRD would not be what it is if not for their influence, as well as Jeremy Crawford, Chris Perkins, and some other guy I won't bring up because of demonetizable actions. But 5th edition was good. And they brought it back to the original 1.1 OGL, allowing people to create openly across the game, and thus it flourished. Now, in 2017, D&D Beyond came out exclusively for the 5th edition, firmly putting D&D Insider into the grave, and also the licenses you bought for it were just gone in 2020. WotC was making money through D&D Beyond enough to confidently move forward with the system by 2020. Thanks to the pandemic, made it all the more easier to play the game with your players online, driving up subscribers and the cash flow they needed to make the site better. In the middle of 2022, Hasbro would buy the site for over $141 million so that they could have full and ultimate control over it. And now their plans would fall into motion. In 2023, a news report came out with the disturbing entry that a new open game license, OGL 1.2, would do as follows. If you make third-party content using the 5.1 SRD or 5th edition D&D, and you make a certain amount of money after a threshold, you then have to pay WotC Hasbro royalties, scaling off of how much you made either in Kickstarter or any crowdfunding site or sales. Number 2, you give WotC a full and open license to allow them to make anything out of your third-party content and not credit you at all for the work and then sell it themselves. Number 3, they can revoke this license from anyone whenever they want for any reason, thus can sue you to stop selling your third-party content. This information was leaked, and many of the upper management and staff called its players ungrateful and entitled to even rise up to make a stink of this, and in just a few weeks' time, they went full damage control in an attempt to mitigate the chaos they caused by handing over the entirety of 5.1 SRD to a Creative Commons 4.0 CC license, thus firmly putting 5th edition into the hands of the community and ratifying the 1.1 OGL. So, 5th edition is now under the common control of the community as much as WotC and Hasbro. This really came about after Ginny D, Antonio D'Amico, otherwise known as Pointy Hat, and many other D&D creators, even myself, had created several pieces of content lambasting WotC's decision to change the OGL on a whim. And we will be getting to them in a second. And in this past year and a half, a number of scandals have come out the woodwork. The most recent ones that come to mind are the massive layoffs at the end of last year at WotC, even though they made millions in profit right before Christmas for a tax break, as well as the use of AI images in Bigsby's Glory to the Giant supplement book. Speaking of, over the course of the past year, they have used AI images time and time again in promotional art and certain final products, even if they say they don't. Now, they say they don't use any AI in final products, but that does not confirm that they don't use AI in the production of any of their future content. Trick of the words, if you will. So, what brings us to now? Well, as we get closer to the new release of these D&D 2024 books, there have been speculation, smoke, mirrors, cloak, and dagger. D&D Beyond is now one of the few massive VTT systems that exist today. It has a base of 10 million users, which is no small amount of people. But overall, the biggest benefit to WotC and Hasbro is that you don't own the books you buy on the website. You have a license, and that they can revoke it at any time, and we will get to that. Because now, I have to set you up for my predictions, and why I think what will happen over the course of the next few years, if not already happening right now. First off, they will slowly stop printing the old 5th edition books as they become more scarce and harder to buy either in game stores or online, and also the raising of prices for their new books. They want you to pre-order now, but give you nothing for doing so. All the while, look at any game that does have pre-order bonuses and they are far more worth the price. But they have raised the cost of the brand new books 20% more than any recent release. So it would cost you over $180 for the full bundle, knowing that you're gonna need it, because it's not backwards compatible with the current 5.1 SRD. You can convert your content to the new system. That's right, folks. They roofied you. They said one thing and did another. But why? There's no such thing as coincidences. Why would they basically re-release damn near verbatim 80% of their core rulebooks? Well, it's not because it's power creep. I can assure you any DM worth their salt is capable of adjusting their games to make sure the actual play at table is to suit the needs of the table. Homebrewing house rules, like myself and many others, are capable of making the game run smoother with very little change to the system itself. The problem for Hasbro is that nobody is buying the old core books anymore. Note how I said that's a problem for Hasbro, because their goal is a 50% year-over-year profit margin, which is fucking impossible unless you force people to buy the new stuff all over again. These new books are not backwards compatible because we know what's about to happen. Because they are willing to kill the 2014 5th edition on D&D Beyond to make you buy more unnecessarily. They literally tried to do this like last month. This made the community unsub from D&D Beyond and forced them to turn the 2014 content into legacy content so we could keep what we bought. Also, remember everything I said about the 4th edition? Remember about that 1.2 OGL and what it's about? Hasbro wants to do none of the work, but take all of the money. That's why this new revision is so lazily done. They will try and call it 5th edition, but they can't just make money off it like they did anymore. The people own that now. So what are they to do? Well, first, they stopped selling content a la carte on D&D Beyond, which was just a terrible decision. But you know, money. But it's just to make you comfortable. Is it beginning to click? I'll just say it then. They intend to completely push out the 2014 5th edition from D&D Beyond and force 10 million plus users to buy their new system because you run your games out of D&D Beyond. And it would suck if you would have to change to an entirely new VTT when you could just capitulate and buy the new books. And just so you guys know, I didn't. We moved to Roll20 days after the announcement. And if you make any homebrew content on that website or develop third-party content for it at all, they will scrape it, take it, and cut you out entirely. And they can do that. You only own the license to the 5th edition content you have on the site. They will gladly revoke it as slowly and painfully as possible before it is too much and you bend to their will. That is my prediction. They are not your friend. Hasbro and WotC's only allegiance is to money and stockholders. They don't give a single fuck about this community or any of their complaints. And you want to know how cynical it is? How insidious it may be? D&D Beyond and WotC had done an open press tour with videos talking about the new upcoming books. Everyone is so excited, including all the people who criticize them for doing the OGL scandal. That's right, baby. Ginny D, Antonio D'Amico, Dungeon Dudes, Dungeon Dad, the list goes on, and they all had a word about the OGL scandal one way or another, and are now doing PHP previews that are designed to only show the good parts that they only want you to see. They bought and paid for their fucking critics with early access to their products. Why would you ignore one scandal after another, right? I don't think anyone within reason would find any of their words worth trusting, because WotC and Hasbro have made it impossible to trust them. But if they can get the people that had the biggest pulls within the community to say the consumers through pure influence alone, trust me, bro, Well, that's just to make you more comfortable with the plan to force everyone to change to the new system that they control entirely. This is not just me having a wild hair up my ass. This is not just pure speculation. Look at the history, the leaks, the scandals, the way that Hasbro runs their business, even hiring Pinkertons. It's on the wall. There is no certification that this new D&D set of core books is not going to use the 1.2 OGL in the future. There's no certification that they will keep the original 2014 5th edition on D&D Beyond forever. There is nothing, fucking nothing that can convince me that Hasbro will not change the rules on a whim. They already did so with backwards compatibility. They already tried with the 2014 version on D&D Beyond. They already tried with the OGL. They already did so with lying about AI over and over again. It's not insane to believe this. It's not insane to distrust a corporation within terms of service that are entirely based off of what they can expect of you, but never of them. They only see you as a dollar sign. They are fully convinced the money in your pocket is theirs. Now, all they had to do is figure out how to get it from you. This is 4th edition all over again. Only this time they were patient enough to wait. So, what do we do? Looking at it from 3 different perspectives, because again, these are all my own theories and predictions. First of all, if I'm right, don't buy the new books. Don't pre-order. If you see the signs, it's time to move to a new VTT. I can assure you already that this plan is currently in motion. Nothing is going to stop them, and they will learn very quickly how much the community will not play ball when the new PHB drops in a way that people don't like. Don't buy. Wait for the reviews. There is no FOMO worth trying to jump to a new system when the current one and any homebrew rules you have work just as well. If I'm half right, and they somehow keep 5th edition, both 2024 and 2014, on the site permanently with absolute certainty, that would be less concerning. But you will see a heavy decline in 5th edition supplements and adventures in the future because they can't make money off of it anymore. Eventually, 5th edition will be phased out, but maintained. For how long? Who knows? But if you can't trust it, trust that it will not be forever. And if I'm entirely wrong, I welcome the egg on my face, and this video will be just another one of mine in the annals of bad videos on this channel. So yeah, that's it. Outro time. Ooh, yeah. That one took a bit. Thank you guys for watching. This has always been a bit of a heated video idea of mine for the past several months. I've just been waiting to kind of see where things go, and it obviously has not gone well. D&D Beyond is in a grave right now. At least one of its feet are. Anyways, D&D Beyond is not going anywhere good anytime soon. And obviously they have tried and tried again to make sure that you just spend more money on things that you don't want to spend money on. It's kind of just what corporations do. I am moving to a completely different system after Frontiers, as I've probably mentioned before on this channel. But this is one of those videos where I just feel like, hey, don't be surprised when WotC or Hasbro decide to change their mind about things, because that's what corporations do. They will say one thing 1 month and do a completely other in the next. And they're just trying to fatigue you to kind of just jump ship. And so I'd rather jump ship to EM Publishing rather than jump ship to, another 5th edition that I don't need. So, yeah. All right. I've made this video. I feel relatively good about making this video. Please like and subscribe. If you want to hear me talk more about some controversial D&D opinions, then, yeah, let me know. Talk to me. We'll see what happens. I hope you guys have a good day. It's the end of the video. Bye.